Hello, hello. Hope this thing works better today than it did yesterday. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Hope you're all doing great. Sorry for the abrupt ending of yesterday's stream. My internet died and I couldn't get it back to work in reasonable time. I'm Archfiend. Thank you for the 9 months. We are going to look at all the cards from the Infinite Forbidden, obviously. However, we are going to do that by not looking at leaks. I want to make that clear before today's stream. We will not be covering any of the stuff that hasn't been officially announced or released. I am aware that stuff has gotten out there. I don't even know if I've seen all of it or if I may have missed some of the stuff, but we will simply not cover it until it's officially out there. I know people are gonna ask. That's okay. It's whatever. I just wanted to clarify it once at the beginning of the stream. I know everyone is gonna come in here and bring it up and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, you guys know the drill. We're gonna talk about it soon enough. So yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, yeah, my internet situation, I don't know. It's been weird the last couple of weeks. It's kind of ironic because I called them about it 2 days ago. I said, hey, we keep having disconnects here and there, and it's really bad because we both work from home. So can you please try and fix that? And they were like, yeah, we're gonna look into it. And then one day after, it was well, that was yesterday. Obviously, the stream died. So gonna they're gonna try and fix it again, I suppose. They said so 2 days ago. They said we're gonna try this one thing, and if that doesn't work, we're gonna try this other thing. So I guess now we're gonna have to try the other thing. I don't know exactly. I forgot what exactly it was, but yeah, we're gonna. I'm gonna try to make sure it works. We're better. If not, we're gonna switch providers if that's possible. If that's a possible solution. But yeah. Yeah, my bad for yesterday's early ending of the stream. I really was looking forward to rank up and all that kind of stuff. So instead we're going to do some of that today because we also missed the podcast recording yesterday because of my internet. We're also going to do that today. So yeah. Did they ask you to restart the router? I mean, just restarting the router by like pulling out the cord and putting it back in is something I've done a lot, very often, and that usually fixes it. The problem is, I can't really. That's not feasible, right? Because like when you're streaming, even if internet is gone for just like a minute, it's pretty bad, right? Because like people leave, when the stream crashes, right? So it's not great. So I'm gonna try and see if there's a solution that makes sure that that happens as little as possible. It's not been as bad for the longest time. Like for the last couple of months, it's not been that bad, or like it's not happened at all really, except for like once or twice. But it's been happening more often recently. So I don't know what's changed. Gonna look into that at some point or now, right? But yeah, let's just hope it doesn't happen today, especially not during the podcast recording. But alas, here we are. We're gonna try to just do the things that I was going to do yesterday. We've got some new cards, new themes announced. We've got some. We had yesterday at 5 p.m. we had the official release of the Millennium archetype, so we can talk about that real quick today, and some other stuff as well as podcast recording and some Master Duel. Basically, a lot of the stuff that we were gonna do yesterday. So yeah, let's hop right in. I'm Archfiend. Oh, I already said that. Thank you for the 9 months. Destiny Davara, thank you for the 3 months, and Dino Sorrow, thank you for the 3 months as well. Appreciate you guys. Okay. Let's guess some cards. How about in? We'll totally get to Master 1 this time. Well, not today. I mean, we're not. I think we're 1 or 2 games away from Master 5. Is that yugioh friendship or symbol of friendship? Yeah, symbol of friendship. That one, not yugioh. Yugioh is Yugi and Joey. Yeah. This is one of the Sylvans. Is that Aurea? That's Aurea. Yeah. This is this the pendulum again? I'm not sure. No, it's not. Zombina? I think that's Zombino, isn't it? Zombino, yeah. Yeah. Up. Can't tell yet. Still can't tell. Still can't tell. Prediction princess. All right. Moving on. Got Bountiful Artemis on it and Alien Soldier or something. Luminize. Okay. We're getting some bad ones. Nubian Guard? No? Oh, okay. I was about to say, I was about to complain. It was lagging a little bit. It's not Stealthroid. Is it? It's Jetroid, yeah. Stealthroid is also a flying thingy, but not that one. Yeah. Is that a crash bug? I'm gonna skip it. I've seen it though. I think it's a crash bug. Super crash bug, yeah. That is Redstone. No, not Cards of Redstone. Is it? No. Red Eye Stone. Leonite. Wait, it's Leonite. Oh. Okay. Well, what is the Red Eye Stone called though? Like, I couldn't find it. I was gonna guess that one. Good thing I didn't. That's Michaelis. Is it Redstone of Legend? Oh, Blackstone of Legend. That's what it is. Reptilian, I think. Niami. Oh, that's Fire Fist Spirit. Fire Fist. What is it? Spirit. Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Spirit. That one. Insect. Yes, giant flea. Thank you for the 10 months, Kalski. Appreciate that. That's Fiery Dance? Fire Dance? No. Purification Dance. Okay. I was not familiar with that one. 9. Thank you for the 11 months. Or 9. 9. Ancient Gear. Ancient Gear Frame? Okay. Angler. Oh, that's Sky Iris. No idea. Bro's got a Wi-Fi signal on his chest. What was that? Wi-Fi warrior? Cypher Mirror Knight. Okay. Cyber's looking card. Steel Swarm. Korkimiru. Oh, Korkimiru Berserk? Or Bergzag. Okay, I did not realize it was the Korkimiru symbol. More Abyss actors. I am very bad at guessing Abyss actors if it's not Mellow Madonna, because that's one's come up a couple times in the recent ones. No idea which one this is. Liberty Dramatist. Kotetsu. Yeah. Some Gusto, Guldos, Falcos. Wait, it's not it's Lanista? Really? Oh, that looks very similar to the Gusto guy. Okay, that was very washed. I'll admit it. If that ain't a ZW something something, I don't know what is. Yep. This is something mask hero related. Hero like legacy of a hero. Yeah. Binary. Yeah. What is that? Neo Flamvel Lady. All right. Oh, that's negate attack. Ah. Didn't need that extra zoom. That's an X Saber. It's not. It's Blade Armor Ninja? Isn't that green? I could have sworn that was green on the like special effects. All right, well. I've seen this, but I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna skip it. Spell calling. $100 dragon. Yeah. Ooh, this looks familiar. Is this? It's not petite dragon, is it? Elum. Okay, how did you know that just from the wing? Oh wait, that might be dimensional fissure. No, oh god, I thought I was gonna be guessing something without zooming. It's DD Crow. Come on, man. Technically, I was correct. Technically, that was dimensional fissure. It's one of the pandas, I think. Yeah. Frenzied panda. Fire Fist. No, is that Fire Fist? Yeah, it's Fire Fist. Is it Peacock? I was thinking Peacock as well. Yeah. Ruby. Don't know. Plutonius Reptolfin Grethis. Okay. This is either a potion or a medicine. It might be paralyzing potion. Yeah. This, I can't even tell what it is. This is an X-Saber card now. Oh yeah, that's Saber Hole. Big koala. I don't know what this is. Nope, no idea. Gimmick puppet, apparently. Junk puppet. Secret pass to the treasures. Duel Links farm card. Who remembers? And destruction. This feels familiar. It's an iron core something. I'm skipping. Negaton core panel. This feels familiar as well. This is really old. I don't know what it's called though. Sword Slasher. Is this even out in the TCG? Bubble. This is Bubble Illusion or Bubble Shuffle? Okay, nice. 50-51. This is Buster. I don't think it's this one. No. Buster, but like... I don't know what it's called. Robot Buster? I'm gonna skip it. I don't know if it's called Robot Buster. It is called Robot Buster. Okay. That's a Goki card. Moonsault. I want to say Magispector Tempest. Magispector. It's not Tornado, is it? Is it not what I'm thinking it is? I feel like... Oh, it's just the crow. Okay. I don't think you can see all of that on the actual artwork because it's covered by the pendulum box. I think that's what threw me off. Island Turtle. Stadium. Is it the other stadium? It's the other stadium, of course. That's a Predaplant. Please tell me which Predaplant this is. If I zoom further, I don't get 20 points. No, you lied to me! Biblisp? I don't think that's Biblisp. I think Biblisp is the one that I could know. Yeah, it's not Biblisp. Ah. Well, 786 it is. Yeah. Berg Banause Bonobo, thank you for the 3 months. And Cyan CL, thank you for the 5 months as well. Appreciate you guys. Okay. Quickly do this and then get into today's stuff. All right. Big effect monster. Redox. Okay. Even older, higher level, not just effect. It could be a big synchro. But it would have to have like it's level 8 I mean, a level 8 synchro. It could just be Stardust Dragon. It is a level 8 dragon. Okay, there's no way we can't get this. All right, it's not Scrap Dragon because it's not Earth. It's Light, Water, or Fire. Level 8 Dragon Synchro. Is it the Gemini dude? Yeah, okay, easy clap. Easy clap. I'm not gonna lie, if it wasn't for like modern Edison decks, I probably wouldn't know this card. Or I probably would not have remembered. Did you guys know this card became expensive? I don't know exactly how much it is, but I think it's expensive. Hold up. Brute Drago, because it has no reprints, not a single one, is if you're looking for, if I was to order one from Germany in at least excellent condition, that would be, at least for a German one, it'd be over 12 bucks, which is not cheap for a super rare. No. That's pretty expensive. All right. So the plan for today, the order is actually switched a little bit. We're actually going to do the podcast soon, guys. We're actually going to do the podcast in about 30 minutes. So we got like 30 minutes to yap about different stuff. And then once the podcast is done, we're going to hop into Master Duel Ranked. Let us go one after another for some of yesterday's news. Once again, not all of yesterday's news. We can't talk about all of yesterday's news because we won't cover leaks on the channel. Instead, we're going to look at all of the official announcements, starting with some Infinite Forbidden announcements slash rarities. So I've taken this as a like this opportunity to reread these cards and understand what they're doing and why people are somewhat expecting them to be meta viable. So we'll talk about the Millennium archetype real quick as well. Agoraphobic, thank you for the bits. Do you think SP is getting a reprint in the next 2 months or so, or should I just buy one now? I mean, next 2 months? I'm not sure. Is Age of Overlord even in the tins? I guess we are. Yes, it is. Okay, well then I think you should be getting. I don't know when the tins release though. I don't know if the next 2 months is accurate. I think at some point we're gonna start getting Age of Overlord reprints. For example, Diabellstar has already been announced for the Bonanza set, right? Mega tins are September. Well, then, I mean, I think there's a realistic chance that SP is in there, right? It's not 100% guaranteed, but it's at least realistic. So, yeah. Very quickly, we've got Ultra Rare for Sengenji and Wakes from a Millennium. This one is super rare common. The Shield is also an Ultra Rare. The Exodia Fusion is an Ultra Rare, and the Millennium Ankh is the Secret Rare, as well as Veju Temple is an Ultra Rare. So, as you kind of would expect from an anime lore kind of archetype, like legacy support from way back in the day, they are giving these pretty decent amount of high rare cards. It's only one secret, quote unquote, but still 4 ultras. The thing that's kind of cool about these as ultra rares, like I don't think you're gonna be super mad about pulling these because these guys are actually not bad. I think on its own, this deck is not going to be great, right? It's maybe like a somewhat playable rogue deck, but nothing crazy competitively speaking. However, these cards are actually solid cards, specifically the main deck monsters, or the first 3 monsters, as well as maybe the Temple are going to see some experimentation, I'm pretty sure. So just to recap real quick, so what these cards do is basically when you draw them, you can place them in your spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous spell, basically without any other conditions. Like you can just reveal them from your hand and put them in your spell and trap zone. And while they are continuous spells, you can either pay 2,000 life points or reveal the Millennium Ankh in your hand to special summon them out and actually get some pluses from them. Like for example, Sengenjin is a level 8 monster with 2750 attack that you can just put into your spell and trap zone from your hand, pay 2,000 life points, summon it out, and then it also adds a Millennium monster from your deck to your hand. So these guys all work in similar ways, right? I think Sengenjin is the best one because it just goes +1, like summon it out, go +1. With another Millennium monster. This one is the golem that guards the Millennium treasure is level 6 that does exactly the same thing. You can put him into your spell and trap zone from your hand, and then you can pay 2,000 or reveal the Ankh to special summon it, and then it adds the Temple from the deck to the hand, which is also solid. And then you've got the basically the shield, which does the same thing, but it adds the Millennium Ankh. I think that's the worst one because I'm not actually sure if you want to be playing the Millennium Ankh in this deck. I'm pretty sure you don't want to play it. But yeah, so this one doesn't add anything of great value. These two are not great either. I'm gonna skip over these for the sake of this discussion. I have talked about these in the past when they were announced, as well as the fusion monster. Right, the fusion monster is in here for aesthetic reasons. I feel like the card looks cool. Card is Park champion and all that, but I think not really going to see play. Like I think from what I've seen, a lot of these engines play Sengenjin and the Golem, and then maybe a copy of the Shield just as an additional extender. And then they play a Temple, right? Because it says you can place a monster from your hand in your spell and trap zone, and then you place a Millennium monster from your deck in your spell and trap zone. You can only use this effect once per turn. If a face-up Millennium monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can place it in your spell and trap zone as a face-up continuous spell. So what I've seen people do is actually run 3 Sengenjin, 3 Golem, 1 Shield, and then 1 Temple. So what you can do in an ideal world, if you open Sengenjin, it's going to cost you a lot of life points. But I mean, nowadays we can ignore that fact, or at least I don't think that's super relevant. But you can play Sengenjin into spell and trap zone from your hand, pay 2,000, summon it out, search the Golem, then put the Golem in your spell and trap zone, summon out the Golem by paying 2,000 life points. Then the Golem fetches you the Temple for free. Then you can activate the Temple. You can put a monster from your hand into your spell and trap zone to put the Shield from your deck into the spell and trap zone, and then summon that one out as well, right? So out of just 1 Sengenjin and another monster in your hand that you have to place into your spell and trap zone, which sometimes doesn't even feel like a cost when you're playing like Snake Eyes or something, and you like put a Poplar there or something, you get 3 bodies. Right, you get 3 bodies out of this one card, which is fine. And then also, yeah, you can also start with Golem. It doesn't matter which one you start with. That's why you can play 3 of each. Because if you start with Golem, you search the Temple, then the Temple places the Sengenjin, and then the Sengenjin grabs the Shield, right? And so you pay 6,000 life points. It's a large cost, which I don't think, this is why I don't think this is like too broken or anything like that. But still, like getting three bodies out of one card is still a very substantial amount of pressure and all that kind of stuff, right? So I think it's at least worth mentioning that these cards are not as bad of an ultra rare that as you would maybe expect from legacy support, anime support, right? Like I think these are actually going to be not the worst ultra rares to pull in the Infinite Forbidden, because there is a world where these cards see play. In like not in their own deck, or like maybe you can play them in their own deck, but like I think they're just more so used as like other engines. They don't have matching levels, which is good, right? So like you don't have you can't go into like a Beatrice or anything like that with these, but You do get 3 Earth monsters, which is somewhat relevant for Master Duel with different types. So this is a 1-card Beatrice. Not Beatrice, a Curious. But yeah, it would be like you would maybe put it into your deck and then simply like side it out if it gets closer to time, like for games 2 or 3. You take these out of your deck, but you get like game 1, you get a lot of mileage out of like 1 card, right? So yeah. So I just wanted to mention that when we're talking about this engine, I think it's worth noting. I think these are a little bit better than what I maybe initially gave them credit for, because I didn't really think of these outside of their own archetype, because they don't have any restrictions, and I actually think they're not terrible. So yeah. You make Moon. Yeah, that exactly. Luke, yeah, the 1 Sengenjin is actually full Fiendsmith combo, right? Because 3 bodies is exactly the sweet spot. That's the critical amount of monsters that you need to pivot into the Fiendsmith combo via your closed moon goddess, right? Yes, 3 aware. Oh, is it not 3 anymore? I genuinely don't know this, by the way. I genuinely haven't looked at the stuff that isn't officially out yet in detail. It's 2 now? Oh my god. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm happy we're not talking about that today. I genuinely did not know that. So, yeah. we will talk about we will talk about it soon enough. So for now, it is what it is. Okay, we have another thing that we can't talk about though, which is the first archetype out of the next deck building set, which is called Raziol. Deck building sets, you know, the ones with 3 archetypes, like the amazing defenders and stuff like that. 3 new archetypes. One of them this time around is a level 4 fire-based strategy, it looks like. We got Sword Raziol, level 4 Fire Thunder, 200 defense for kindling target, Pog champion. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. If you have a Raziol monster in your field or in your graveyard, on your field or in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except rank 4 monsters. If this card is normal or specialed, you can add a light pyro monster from your deck to your hand. Okay, so this itself is a Fire Thunder. I'm assuming they have... Okay, they got light pyros. Okay, they're not just fire. Okay. We're starting off with a very cookie cutter card. Very simple. Normal summon this guy and get your stuff going. Or if you can already do stuff, it also is a special summon. Very good card to have. Very good card to have. It'd be a shame if the next card would just be... It'd be a shame if the next card was just like Poplar. No, I like this. This is powerful. They're very good. Very promising start for a new archetype. We got Node Raziol, level 4 Fire Thunder. You can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second effect once per turn. If you have an Exceed monster on your field or in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. If summoned this way, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except rank 4s. You can send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target a Raziol monster in your grave, special summon it in defense position, but its effects are negated. Alright. Not as good as the first one, but a solid extender. It's not searchable by this guy, so you can't like... maybe there's other searching capabilities, but as of now, from what I've seen... you can't just play 1 and just search it, but like it seems like a solid card. Depending on what else they have. We got Ice Raziol. This one is a light pyro monster and it's called Ice. Okay, noted. You can only special summon with the first effect once per turn. You can only use the second effect once per turn. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending one card from your hand or field to the graveyard. If summoned this way, you're locked into rank 4s. If this card is normal summoned, you can special summon a yugioh monster from your deck. So, I mean, this is obviously good. This is obviously really, really strong. My question is how do these effects don't make sense together, right? Like why would I special summon this card from my hand if it only activates on normal summon? This is also a bonfire target, by the way. Backup plan. I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess it's okay to have the option, but like if I draw this card, I always want to normal summon it. This is really good, but I want to point out that one little like weird thing about this is the fact that like this is your best normal summon. This is your quote unquote Stratos of the deck. This searches this, but then if you use your normal summon on this, then you can't normal summon this anymore, which is a little awkward, but still, this is a good card, obviously. So one obvious thing that you could do, I guess, is you could start by normal summoning Ice, special Sword, and then Sword adds another Light Pyro, at which point you could, I guess, add another Ice, which can be an extender. But you also have the option to add X yugioh, which is another level 4 Light Pyro. You can only special summon with the first effect once per turn. You can only use the second effect once per turn. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending an Xyz monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. Okay, what can we do with this? Any Xyz. There has to be a crazy thing that we can do. Aggregator. Okay, we go second. We can negate a card on the board. All right, not bad. Is there something cool we can do going first? I guess you can send Toad if you were playing water monsters, but it doesn't look like they have any. But okay. If this card is normal or special summoned and all face-up monsters you control are level 4 or rank 4, you can add a Fire Thunder from your deck to... Oh! These guys are good. This guy is just a special summon that lets you add and send an Xyz from the extra deck to the graveyard. These are like pretty much all of these are bangers so far. The worst one is this guy, which is the wolf bark, I suppose. And there's more even. Okay, we got Palma, level 4 Fire Thunder. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by shuffling a yugioh monster from hand or graveyard into the deck extra deck. It locks you into rank 4 while it's on the field. Once per turn, if this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can send a level 4 monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. And if you do, this card gains attack equal to that monster's until the end of the battle phase. Okay, so this is probably the worst one so far, but it's just a fine extender that recycles resources back into your deck or extra deck. And it can actually foolish any level 4 monster. So this seems fine, right? The fact that this is the worst card we've read so far is pretty powerful, honestly. But okay. And obviously a rank 4 themed deck would have rank 4s. Rank 4 Fire Thunder, yugioh Duo Drive, 2500 attack, needs 2+ level 4 monsters, so it's generic. You can only use the first and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can attach a yugioh monster from your graveyard to this card as material. So it essentially, if you have stuff in the grave already, it can jump out as a rank, as one with 3 materials. For each material attached to this card, monsters you control gain 100. Also, monsters your opponent lose 100. During your main phase, you can detach 2 materials from your Exceed monsters, and if you do, add 2 Yugioh cards with different names from your deck to your hand. Huh? So we got like super efficient level 4 bodies. They are really good at spamming and creating card advantage and making rank 4s for free. And then they got a rank 4 that just adds 2 cards. That's powerful. Look, the only reason why I'm not popping off and calling this completely batshit crazy, and I'm not calling them insane for making these, is because a lot of these cards actually lock you into rank 4 for the rest of the turn, which means you can't convert this into like a generic Appaloosa, IP Masquerena, Promethean Princess because they're fire, all that kind of stuff. You can't make that happen with this deck, right? Like this, and no Zeus even, because it's that's not a rank 4. It's not even Exceeds that it locks you into. It locks you into rank 4 specifically. So this is good. That doesn't mean that it's a bad deck or anything like that. But I just feel like it's very important that they have these restrictions, because otherwise, you know, this would be very troublesome. But I mean, obviously, this is a good card. Detach 2 to grab 2 more monsters from your deck, or cards even. I don't know if they have good spell traps. Really, really strong. They have another option as well. This one does need Yugioh monsters. Detonator. You can only use the first and third effect once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can attach a monster from your graveyard to this card as material. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach a material from this card, then target a card on the field, destroy it. And this is not once per turn. I mean, this is a really nice endboard piece. This is a really nice endboard piece. Keep in mind, you make this with 2 level 4s. It attaches a third one on summon, so this comes out with 3 materials. And if your opponent doesn't have a way to get rid of it immediately, you can just pop multiple cards over the course of the turn. It's not just you can't activate it at any given moment. Your opponent has to play into it, quote unquote. Kind of like it has this kind of SP Little Knight mechanic to it, where you always have to wait for your opponent to do something to respond to it. It is significantly harder to run over this than run over Little Knight because it's 3,000. So chances are you can very consistently get 1 or 2 pops out of this, I feel like. No, I like this a lot. But I don't think this is too powerful though. This is strong, but I don't think it's too strong. It's very good. It also has, if an Exceed monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach a material from this card instead. So it's got this like protection Zen mains effect. Yeah, this is a good archetype. And you know why I'm a little bit, I'm not surprised per se, but you know how deck building archetypes very often release in kind of like an okay state and then become a lot stronger with future support? Like I'm thinking Pearly, Rescue Ace, those kind of decks, right? It feels like this is just good right out of the pack. Like first release, this is playable. Like I mean, we still have spells to react to, but this is already a really solid core. Without being, I want to say without being too broken at my first impression, they are really good cards. But like the thing is, I'm comparing it in my head. I'm comparing it to like, well, is it as problematic as Snake Eyes? And my first thought is like, no, it's not, because you're locked into rank 4s. Like your end board options are going to be limited because of that. Because like what good end board pieces do they have in the rank 4 pool, right? They're gonna make a Detonator. You got Dweller, maybe. You don't really want to make Baguska, because if you're making Baguska, everything else that you have is irrelevant, right? But yeah, Giant Hand, Rafflesia. I mean, look, if I can play against a deck which endboard piece is like a Rafflesia and a Detonator, I feel like we're okay, guys. I feel like we're okay. I feel like if that's the kind of end board that this deck makes, even if it makes it in an efficient way, I'm okay with that. All right. It is also worth noting, I think this is a thing that is not to be underestimated. This deck gets destroyed by Mulcharmy Parelia. Right? This deck gets completely obliterated because all of them have effects to special summon from hand. If you want to extend further, right? That is worth pointing out. And that might be why they make these cards very efficient and a little stronger, because this deck gets completely shit on by that card, right? So, but it's cool. I like it. I like this so far. We got Yugioh plugin, a quick play spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Target one Exceed monster or a Yugioh monster in your graveyard or banishment. Special summon it. Then you can attach a Yugioh card from your deck to your rank 4 monster as material. Also, you cannot declare attacks for the rest of the turn except with rank 4s. Okay, so this is not a starter card, but they already have plenty starters. Keep in mind that they also have bonfire targets, so I don't think consistency should be an issue for this deck. They have a quote-unquote extender, like a revival card. You can revive any Exceed with this and even give it a material. Right? Like any Exceed that you've made previously, you can just bring it back and give it a material and use it again, right? That's pretty nice. So not only can you use it on your main deck monsters, but you can also revive like your Detonators, your Duo Drives, your other like Abyss Dwellers. Like, let's say you only have room in your extra deck for one Abyss Dweller, but you run into a matchup where you really want to use it again. You can just revive it with this. Yeah. Bring back Bagooska in the enemy's turn. I mean, yeah, you can revive Bagooska in defense position and attach a material to it. The problem with this deck is like, so the idea would be you make Bagooska on your first turn combo, but you don't want to end on Bagooska because it negates all your other stuff. So you put the Bagooska into the graveyard somehow. The problem is you can't just like link off the Bagooska if you're locked into rank 4s, right? Like you can't actually get the Bagooska into the graveyard to revive it at some point, but yeah. But I wouldn't focus too much on Bagooska. I think this deck would play Bagooska, but only as like a literal plan B. So yeah. Why is this called Hole Thruster? Why is the last card called Yugioh Hole Thruster? Anyways, normal trap card. You can use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Target face up cards your opponent controls up to the number of Yugioh Exceed monsters you control. Destroy them. Then you can attach a Yugioh card from your grave to your rank 4 Exceed monster as material. You can banish this card from your grave. Immediately after this effect resolves, Exceed summon monsters you control, including a Yugioh monster. So this is just Ritual Beast Steeds, right? But for Yugioh Exceeds. And it gives you more Exceed material. Like, let's say if your Detonator has 3 materials when you make it, you start using it on your opponent's turn. At some point you use this card, and then you can attach one back, so you get an extra pop, and then you can banish it from the graveyard to make an Exceed summon. This is a solid trap card, especially considering the fact that this searches any Yugioh card. I think I would very much expect to see at least one of this in the deck. Yeah. This is a whole normal trap card. I mean, you wouldn't look, you would, that's true. That's interesting. Does it count for like, does Rafflesia say trap hole or hole trap? Any whole normal trap. Okay. So you can, if you don't get to search this card, you could just play Rafflesia in this deck because it's a generic rank 4. And if you have other Raziol Exceeds, you can just send this card. Oh, that's not bad. I wonder if that's intentional. I wonder if that's intentional or not. The Japanese also matches. Okay, well that's interesting. I mean, yeah, you could imagine it. Like, that means you can play Rafflesia in this deck without even having to play other non-Raziol like trap hole cards, which normally you don't want to. You wouldn't want to put trap cards into the deck. You can just play one of this, and you either search it if you can, or you search other stuff and then make a Rafflesia and you can still access it. That seems good. This is a cool archetype. I like this. I'm a fan of this. This is, I have nothing to complain about, literally. There's no stupid Omni Negate. The deck feels like it has proper locks, but it does not feel like it gets completely ruined by those locks. Like, I don't think, this does not seem unplayable to me because it's locked into rank 4. It feels very much about right. Like, this is what I would expect a new archetype to look. This is fine. There's no card here that's garbage, that doesn't fit in the archetype. They got, yeah, no, that's nice. Give me more of that. This is cool. And keep this in mind, because of what I said earlier, this is the first wave in a deck building pack. Deck building pack archetypes usually get pretty good support in main sets. Think of Pearly. Think of Pearly, think of Rescue Ace, all that kind of stuff, right? Even Memento got good support. Centurion got solid support. Centurion, I was hoping for better support, but yeah. They usually treat these archetypes pretty well with upcoming support. Is all I'm gonna say. And this is already pretty strong. You know, like you got bonfire synergies, you got very strong cards, you got good extra deck options, you got very good spell trap cards. Solid. Solid. I can only hope that by the time that Raziol releases, we can actually play with archetypes like this, and we don't have to suffer through Fiendsmith and Snake Eye levels of broken anymore. I really hope that is not the norm anymore when this stuff comes out. Like, hey Josh, the podcast is delayed. I am on the toilet. Okay. Good to know. Okay, I guess we'll have to wait until Farfa is here until we can start the podcast. I have one other thing that we can yap about for a couple minutes, which is, I don't know to how many of you guys this applies, but I think with this Speed Duel Battle City Finals release, which is coming out some point during November, is the for now last set of Speed Duels. I don't know where it says it. I've read it somewhere, but Speed Duel is going on a pause, I think. I don't think it says it anywhere here. That's a different article. Okay. Ah, here. There. Speed Duel products paused. Okay, yeah. With the release of Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG Speed Duel Battle City Finals, the initial Speed Duel saga we started a few years ago will be concluding. While we are including new content, the Speed Duel releases are starting to retread a lot of familiar ground, so the product line will be pausing for a rest. As always, Speed Duel cards are legal for TCG play, and there will be continued organized play support, for Speed Duel so that duelists can continue to play the format. So you can still play Speed Duel at like YCSs and stuff. There might still be side events for it. There simply won't be new set releases after this one. There's one big news about this, by the way. There was Maxx is in here. There's a Maxx reprint in Speed Duel. Yeah, Maxx is here, which I guess is it's a good thing that they are stopping Speed Duel right with the release of Maxx. They're like, okay, well, we're killing it, so we're killing it properly, I suppose, because Maxx is out. Might as well kill the game off. But Maxx reprint is actually quite nice because Maxx has been getting even the common Maxx are like $8 or something. So I've been building some retro decks recently, and picking up Maxx for retro decks is actually a pain in the ass because even the common ones, which don't even look nice, are expensive. So hopefully that reprint, even though it's just in a small Speed Duel box, will do something about that, right? The other reprints, I don't think are worth noting. I guess Breakthrough Skill is solid. Everything else I don't think was much at all. They get the Ishizu cards. So, yeah. That's it about Speed Duel, I suppose. All right. Yes, but Doomcal in nice rarities. I mean, I personally, I don't like Speed Duel cards because they have the Speed Duel written on it. That bothers me. I don't know if I'm the only one. I don't like that they have that huge stamp on it. It kind of looks, it kind of throws me off when I have like 37 regular cards and then 3 Speed Duel cards in my deck. But the secrets look so clean. They don't look bad. Honestly, if they didn't have the stamp, I would be a big fan of them. Yeah, they do have a nice printing. It doesn't look good, but the price difference makes me feel better about it. And that's completely reasonable. Look, if a Speed Duel reprint is cheaper than the other card and you prefer it for that reason, that's also completely understandable. All right, now it's just waiting for Mr. Farfa until we can start the podcast. If you have any quick questions that we can yap about until Mr. Farfa has returned for the podcast recording, then feel free to drop them now. Well, in case you're wondering, today's podcast is going to be the second part of the Time Wizard format discussions, like which historic formats we think are worth revisiting and which ones aren't. And when we're done with that, we're still gonna play some Master Duel. This is not usually we do the podcast towards the end of the stream, but Mr. Farfa said we should do it earlier today, so. Have you seen that Azamina gives Snake Eye an Omni Negate before the combo if you start with Witch or Wanted? I have seen that, but I will say one thing about that. I'm pretty positive, and maybe I'm too optimistic. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but I'm pretty positive that by the time that we get Azamina cards in the TCG, like. You have to fix that Snake Eye problem. Like that cannot be around when that's happening. Like that literally, I feel like the mood in the community is already pretty bad. But if Snake Eye sticks around until which set is that? Rage of the Abyss releases in like 3 or 4 months? Nah, I don't even want to think about what's going to happen if that's the case. All right, Farfa is ready. pause the music real quick. Hello?
Late. Late.
Modulate.
Can chat hear me?
I'm gonna turn you up a little bit because I think you were a little low, but they can hear you. Yes.
Dude, did you see the leaks? I can't believe they released. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. I can't believe it.
This is like, it's so annoying, isn't it?
It is annoying.
It's
it really is
everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah. I wish I could.
What do you want people to do, Konami? Like, I see nothing. I do not acknowledge anything wrong going on. I am the United Nations. Sorry.
Okay, let me bring up this overlay. And make a, what's it called? Ninja. Yes.
Regulations. Konami expects the users of the application to respect the rights and dignity of others. In addition to terms of conditions, conditioned upon your compliance with the rules of the conduct set forth in this section. All right, so you want to know like some funny rules you're not allowed to use Masado for? You're not allowed to use Masado to seek a relationship with another person or engage in acts that Konami determines is made for the main purpose of causing a relationship. So terms of service of Masado. So you're not allowed to get a boyfriend or girlfriend through Masado. That's literally illegal. That is officially illegal. That's in the terms of service. Illegal. It's in the terms of service. Campaigning for pre-election campaign or participate in politics or other similar acts. So if you use Masado to promote Joe Biden's presidency by activating brand diffusion, that's not allowed.
By activating brand diffusion.
There's like a lot of crazy stuff in here. Where's my camera? This one. There it is. All right, we're live. Yeah, so I mean, they just do this to cover themselves. I think like iTunes has the terms of service. It says you're not allowed to use iTunes to facilitate the creation of nuclear weapons. So you know, if you're,
I mean, that seems like a good thing to have.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's I can see the correlation between nuclear weapons and
or least
listening to
pixelated
YouTube.
Farfa camera.
Give it a sec. Give it a sec. I think it's the I don't actually know why that is because it looks fine on my end. I don't know. It seems to take a second to stabilize. All right, we're Gucci gang.
Gucci gang.
Okay. I think we just turbo through this because there's usually a lot of talking and a lot of stuff has happened we should probably catch up on, but I suppose we can't really talk about most of the stuff, to be fair.
See, you wanted to do this as early as possible, so...
Well, yeah, because I think... we're just going to be too busy with the stream after tomorrow, right? There's like new pack tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is like the biggest thing.
I mean, we can talk about all the things that have been leaked. I think have not been leaked. That have been officially announced, rather, is what I meant.
So I wanted to... I was thinking next week would just be the info podcasts, right? And then just put everything in there.
Yeah, because by next week we can like talk about everything. Yeah.
Okay, so are we doing a little bit at the start now, or should we just go straight into the
I guess we just... Yeah, let's just skip it then.
Okay. All right, let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of The Heart of the Cast. Apologies for skipping last week. Things just got in the way. There was a lot of, mistimed things, and Josh's Deutschland internet was epic.
But we're back.
Soon, smile. So yeah, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode for Infinite Forbidden. All right.
Okay.
Wow. I can't believe they dropped Maxx 3 in the middle of the podcast.
Okay,
that is so funny.
Okay, so it's
really cool, actually. You know what? It makes for some interesting content.
It look. The first one is Maxx C. Am I muted?
Wait, hold on. Did my headset die?
I can hear you. You should be able to hear me.
Second.
Okay, your headset died. Phenomenal.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, hi.
Okay. Well, I was proposing the question of the first one was called either Min C or Maxx C. You know, what is this one?
Maxx 3.
The other one wasn't Maxx 2.
It was close. I mean, it was the theory in the code that Mulcharmy's I guess technically this is also Mulcharmy. What even is the second one called? Perulia?
No, Perulia is the first one. This one is Mulcharmy Fuwaross.
Well, it's the second Maxi, so
It's also, I want to point out, I am like 90% certain with my expertise that this is a bird.
it's a winged beast. It's Robina can search it. It's useless because you need to control no cards, but it is searchable by Robina, which is funny.
Like, I'm telling you, the birds, they're a problem.
Yeah, Josh's theory is that there has never been a good wing beast monster.
Birds are not good for this game.
Every wing beast card is terrible.
Okay, let me read this real quick and let me actually think about it for a second because I was kind of distracted during the podcast. Okay, Mulcharmy Fuwaross, level 4 winged beast. You can activate one other Mulcharmy monster effect the turn you activate this effect. They are going to turn this into an archetype. Yeah, like a full-blown deck potentially at some point.
I mean, I already called that they were going to make one for each like area, right?
That only made sense because of how the first one was worded, right? Like, why would they word it like that if they weren't going to make more? If you control no cards, you can discard this card, apply these effects this turn. Each time your opponent normal or special summons a monster from the deck and or extra deck, immediately draw one card.
Wait, hold on. How do you normal summon from the main or extra?
It says it. I don't know. Maybe that's the next master rule. Normal summon from deck. You ready for a 0 card combo?
Anyway. Huh?
Are you ready for Math Mech Nullification, which combos with 0 cards because you normal summon it from the deck?
Dude, honestly, like, I'm telling you, you know, my theory is like, genuinely, my theory for like, if they keep just power creeping, like, what is the next stage? I think it's like, you know how like Charmers can like special themselves from the main deck? Like, there's probably going to be like an archetype of that eventually one day. Like, that just becomes like, they'll just make that into a deck.
Yeah.
Does Farfa understand the word or? Okay, or special summon. Explain to me.
Yeah, but like he's right, chat. He's right. There's no need to include normal summon technically.
How do you normal summon from your deck or extra, huh?
It's just balancing future design. Trust. There's normal summons from the deck. Anyways.
It actually could be.
So during the end phase, if the number of cards in your hand is more than the number of cards your opponent controls plus 6, you must randomly shuffle cards from your hand into the deck so that the number in your hand equals the number your opponent controls plus 6. So the thing is, with this one, because it draws more cards, theoretically, against decks, it actually could happen, but the problem is that you still end on a lot of cards, right? It just says there's a maximum, right?
Well, you only end on 7, right? Well, it depends how many monsters they have.
Well, if they end on 1 card on the board, then you end on 7, but that's probably not good for you.
So in theory, if they just push through and then summon 5 guys, what, you can keep 11 cards in your hand?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's not really a drawback, right? Also, it's like you can use those cards along the way, right? You can like Veiler and Imperm and all that.
Can I just say, by the way, like the best argument, quote unquote, against Maxi is fine for going second, right? Like that's like the nicest argument for Maxi.
Yeah.
Right? Which fine, but it's still really bad because you're essentially passing, right? And I feel like this kind of just is going to be the same thing.
So I mean, okay, I don't know. I feel like this would have been fine if it had just said extra deck.
Yeah, it really should not have said.
That's my initial thing, because if it stops if it stops the absurd amount of extra deck spams, then I'm kind of okay with it. Like if my opponent can still like summon something from the deck maybe and then end on still like Appaloosa, I get 1 draw out of it. I've stopped my opponent from doing some stuff and they still get to end on something, then it would have been fine, fulfilled its purpose. The fact that you can't even summon from the deck, like let's look at it from a practical example right now. What if you have this and you're playing against Snake Eyes, right? Like your opponent normal summons Snake Eye Ash, adds Poplar, activates effect. At this point, you can't use it yet. They summon the Poplar, they grab the Temple or original Sinful Spoils, and then you drop this before they access the extra deck. Like, what can your opponent do? I guess in the case of Snake Eyes, what they would do in this case is probably go Poplar, search Temple, and then if they get hand trapped with this one, they can make IP, activate the field spell, place something in the spell and trap zone, and pass. So you get one draw, and your opponent passes on IP plus field spell. But that's like an okay situation, isn't it? Like you haven't killed them.
Yeah.
But that's also just one example, right?
It's also like dependent on the deck, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just one example, right? Like that, don't get me wrong, that usage of the card, chat, is really good. Like making your opponent, instead of going full Snake Eye combo, go IP Masquerena, field spell pass is a good use of the card. But keep in mind, you can only do it going second. So I feel like overall that'd be fine. That's just Maxx C though? No, it's not Maxx C. It's not just Maxx C. If you Maxx C in that situation, you get an extra card. And because you get one for the Poplar as well. And you can use it going first as well. You can main deck it without any drawback. It's not the same.
Why didn't they just make it so that it was extra only and then just make a Mulcharmy for main deck? Like, because
that's what I would have preferred.
Theme, right?
I would have preferred that.
Like the theme was like they were going for like each type of summon. So, you know, just if you're gonna make an archetype of Mulcharmies, which is what they were trying to do, like you make one for grave summons, hand summons, main deck summons, extra deck summons.
The thing is that some of those are definitely too bad.
But that's the thing. They're supposed to be targeted, right? Like, against this matchup, you can play this Mulcharmy. Against that matchup, you can play that Mulcharmy. Yeah. I think is what the theme is supposed to be. I don't think it should be a catch-all, like good card in every side deck, which is I think what this is definitely going to be.
I mean, is summoning from the deck, how common is it really? I guess I was thinking. I'm trying to think of like recent meta decks, right? Like I'm trying to think like Unchained gets murdered by the deck part.
That's the problem. It depends on the deck, right? Because there's some decks that summon from the extra, for example, a ton, but they aren't really doing a lot if you think about it, right? Like Salomon Great, I think, is a good example. You have to go into Balinks, then you go into a Sunlight. Well,
yeah, right. But like, Salad dies to the extra deck portion.
Yeah,
not the main deck portion.
So it depends on the deck, I think, is where it really hurts.
I do think that this is a very, very strong card. But I do think it's. I mean, we basically get a test run at it, right? Because the thing, I guess one word of like positivity here, the TCG, the responsible people for the TCG don't like Maxx C. That's why it's been banned forever. They don't agree with the idea of Maxx C. So this is basically, we're going to get to try and see how this sort of errata version of Maxx C is going to work out. And I think if it's too powerful, there's a chance we also get it banned, right?
Ugh, that's like a big if. That's like, we're looking at like ages into the future, you know?
But right? I mean, like, the thing is, it's not as good as Maxx C. It's not even close. I want to emphasize that.
Absolutely.
Like the fact that it has the basically errata of you can't have any cards, but that alone makes it more balanced. Plus, it's not every special summon. It's a lot of the special summons, but it's not all of them. So it is a weaker Maxx C.
I think like the problem is like you're making the barometer Maxx C, right? Which that shouldn't be how it is, because no Maxx C is ideal. Watered down Maxx C is still bad, right?
Mostly. I don't know if that's true.
I think this one is too powerful. I think
some mechanic that helps you going second by giving you extra cards is good.
Okay, look at it this way, right? I think this card was designed fundamentally to fix going second, right? I don't want to see cards like this designed to fix going second. Okay. I want to see more cards designed like Typhon, like Zeus, like Ecclesia, like, you know, these bonus effects you get for going second. Yeah. I think that's how you fix going second in Yu-Gi-Oh! Not Band-Aid Maxxing, right? I think this is a poor way to address the going second problem.
So you think like Phantasme is a poorly designed card?
No, I think Phantasme is like fine.
Okay, so you do think there is definitely a balancing to where getting extra cards is a good design for going
Yeah,
second.
because like Phantasme is like what best case scenario you're mulliganing like 2 or 3 cards away, right? Whereas this, depending on the deck you're playing, you could just give your opponent like 5 cards.
So this is what I agree with. If this card ends up being a complete turn skip for too many decks, I hate it. Even if it only works going second, I hate that. I hate that idea. That was specifically why I was okay with Mulcharmy Perulia, because it felt like it didn't turn skip people. It was just like, you know, just
Yeah,
play a little bit, give them like 2 cards, 3 cards maybe, right?
like Phantasme was a really strong like, kind of like tempo presence as well as like fixing your hand. This is almost no downsides. Like there's like some thought process to Phantasme. First of all, is a link deck good? Do I even want to use Phantasme immediately on a link? This is literally just side deck this for going second and activate, and you're probably going to get a draw, or worst case scenario, right? So
I guess
I think it's too powerful.
I guess the big question with this card, and I guess that's the bad thing about it. Like, one of the arguments has always been like, if it incentivizes people to maybe play more mid-rangey decks, it'd be good. But I don't think this one actually does that, because it's only a side deck card. Like, you would still play the combo decks, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
Alright,
you
I
would
gotta
just
dip.
go game 1, play a combo deck, game 2 side into outs to this, probably. Yeah.
Enjoy your stream. I gotta dip. See ya.
Oh, all right. See ya. Man, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like it depends a little bit on what kind of decks they design in the future, right? Because like the example that I mentioned with Snake Eyes, I genuinely think would be fine, right? If your opponent if you use this card to force your opponent into an IP Masquerena pass where you only get 1 draw out of it, that is a fine interaction for me, right? The problem is a lot of decks that I can think of right now from recent history, it doesn't do that, right? If your opponent doesn't play specifically Snake Eye, then this does a lot of really crazy things, right? Like, if your opponent is playing like Unchained, for example, Unchained is pretty much dead to this card, right? I mean, I guess it's not dead. Like, as an example, let's say your opponent goes normal summon an Unchained monster, activate Charvara in hand, right? Just a common example of the format, right? They activate the Unchained in the graveyard. Your opponent chains this one. They summon another Unchained. You draw 1, and I guess then they go Unchained Soul of Rage. You draw another card, and they get a trap. So they pass on Rage plus Trap, and you have a +1. Right? Even in that example, it's not that bad. Still a good trade. I mean, yeah, it's still a good card in that example. It's still a really powerful card. But I'm worried about the decks where this card just completely ruins the deck, you know? Only huge combo decks die to this, and we don't like them. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's true, though. I'm not sure if that actually is the truth. Like, it's so easy for this card to like, at which point do we think that this card is too powerful? If it draws you 2 cards, if it draws you 3, if it draws you 4, like, at which point do we think this card is definitely overtuned? I think 3 or more is where it starts getting really ridiculous. So I guess what this is saying is, like, we need like decks that can make somewhat of a board in like 1 or 2 summons from deck or extra deck, right? So for example, I'm gonna just give you an example. After this card releases, potentially we go in a direction where we play, for example, where's the guy? This little dude, right? Maybe we live in a world where people start playing this in their deck, so that if you get hit with this card, your plan B, quote unquote, is to just link into Silhouette Rabbit and pass the turn or something, right? Because this just requires 2 effect monsters. So in some of the earlier examples, you start popping off, your opponent has this card, and so you just stop, give them 1 draw to make Silhouette Rabbit and pass, right? Which is like, you're ending on very little, right? You're ending on very little, so you'd have to play a lot of non-engine to counter your opponent's turn, right? SP works too, yeah, but like SP pass is also not like an ideal situation to be in, right? Because another problem that I have with this is the fact that it does not incentivize you to play a lot of engine in your deck, right? Like if your opponent hits you with this card and you have to end on like something like this or SP Little Knight or IP Masquerena and just pass the turn, right? That is only fine if you have non-engine in your hand to help you get through the opponent's turn. If you have a hand full of engine, then you're just gonna die, right? To most modern Yu-Gi-Oh decks. So this kind of card incentivizes people to have a lot of non-engine in their deck, even when you go first, right? Diabellstar can set Silvera. Yeah, you can think of ways to play around this card. Like for example, Diabellstar setting Silvera gives you not a single draw under this card. So that's like fine. The problem is you don't always have Diabellstar. Yeah. You can take the challenge and end on a slim board. Yeah, that's the question, I guess. How far do you go into comboing before this gets ridiculous, right? This is genuinely where I think if they had just done extra deck, it would have been fine. I think if they had just done extra deck, I would have liked this card. Because you can still do some stuff, you know, summon your Unchains from the deck and all that, but you can't go like Yama into Rage, into Appaloosa, all that. I mean, Appaloosa is a bad example for Unchained, but you know what I mean, right? Like, I think if it was just extra deck, this would have been fine. But that is a completely hypothetical scenario, because this is what the card is. So I think overall we're gonna have to wait and see. I am usually on the more optimistic side of things, so I will say I think there's a chance that this card is not as format breaking as we think it is, but we will have to see about that. But my initial instinct is that this is bad for the TCG, but good for Master Duel, because this, I mean, at this point, look, if they're not banning Maxx, it's literally insane. It's insanity. It was already crazy with Pirellia. If this thing is not meant to replace Maxx, I don't even know. Like, I'm losing all faith in OCG. Why is this bad for the TCG? Well, because in the TCG we don't have Maxx, and I would prefer to just not have it, right? Like in the TCG we do not need a replacement for Maxx because it's already banned. In the OCG and in Master Duel, I am open for a Maxx replacement card, right? So if they ban Maxx and give us this instead, I'm like, okay, well, that's better. You know, that's better. So I'm like, for Master Duel and for the OCG, which are both formats managed by OCG Konami, right? And OCG Konami clearly thought that Maxx was necessary. They were not just going to ban Maxx, so that is not an option in the universe that we live in. Like, they were never gonna just ban Maxx and not give us a replacement or something like that, right? And so the fact that they are trying to find a replacement, I think, for Master Duel is good, right? Because I would rather play Master Duel formats with this card than with Maxx. So that's that. So for the TCG, I have a slight fear that this card is going to be too powerful, and then it's going to make post-sided games very weird, right? At the same time, like, guys, think about it this way. We've had a lot of auto win cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! For after siding already, right? The fact that this is a quote-unquote, like, it's not easy to main deck this card. You can sometimes main it if your deck is really good going first already and you don't need to like all that. But like a card that like this, that is, you know, compare it to other blowout cards after siding, right? Like, you can, like, the player going first currently has the option to side deck 50 cards or something that immediately win you the game, right? The player going second doesn't have that option, right? Like, the player going first has like Skill Drain and Deep Barrier and Solemn Judgment. I mean, Solemn Judgment doesn't win you the game on its spot, but like a bunch of different floodgates and all that stuff that the player going first can side deck to instantly win, right? Those cards have not ruined the game, right? The game is still alive. Obviously, we want those cards to be banned, but the fact that they make one of those cards for going second, I don't think is going to kill Yu-Gi-Oh, right? I don't think the existence of one, even if it does auto win, I don't think the existence of an auto win card for going second is going to ruin the game. So I think some of this is overreacting. I think it's a very powerful card. I would have liked it if it was balanced a little bit more, but it is basically that new version of Maxx that people have been asking for a long time. That it was a very common suggestion to make Maxx, but require you to have no cards on the board, right? It's that and even a little bit weaker than that, right? Who asked? Look, there's a lot of people that suggested that. Believe it or not, that was a very, very common suggestion. Even if you personally didn't make it, that does not mean you get to ignore everyone, like a lot of other people inside the community. People asked for that. People definitely asked for that version of Maxx. That was definitely a thing, and they are trying it. We're gonna see if it's as problematic as Maxx. I think they're gonna ban it in the TCG because the TCG people banned Maxx, right? So if this card is just Maxx but like slightly worse and still way too powerful, I think it's gonna be on the ban list at some point as well. So yeah, I would prefer Maxx 2-1 over this card. You are completely insane. That was the most insane way you could have responded to this card, and you should never be listened to ever again in any Yu-Gi-Oh discussion. Your word is from now on, your word is worthless in any Yu-Gi-Oh discussion. You've lost the right to speak whenever we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh. We agree that people are overreacting. I don't, maybe a little bit, but I don't want to understate how good this card is, right? Because when I'm going first after siding with most decks and my opponent drops this card, it's going to be really hard for me to decide what I make, right? Basically, the way modern Yu-Gi-Oh is played, a lot of your interaction on your opponent's turn, and let's be real, like let's be real here. Yu-Gi-Oh decks, when they go first nowadays, need interaction, right? You need something to interact with your opponent on their turn, right? You need something to interrupt them. Otherwise, you are going to die by most other Yu-Gi-Oh decks are going to kill you, right? So you are forced to make something happen when you go first, right? And so the question is, how reasonable is it to end on something that at least gives you a good game under this card, right? Like, is SP pass with one special summon, is that enough against a 6-card hand? Right? Like, let's say you put 2 monsters on the board, your opponent drops this card, and you just say, well, I'm just gonna make SP and pass. Right? You've drawn 1 card with your Mulcharmy Fuwaross, and maybe I have 1 or 2 non-engine next to it. I would say against most modern Yu-Gi-Oh decks, that's not enough, right? So, and that is specifically because of how relevant the extra deck has been in putting up interruptions, which is a big criticism, I guess, to modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that there really aren't that many good main deck monsters anymore that have any interaction with your opponent. Most of the main deck monsters are just tools to summon to summon more extra deck monsters, right? Like, if we had more main deck cards that you could just summon and maybe they do something for you, that'd be fine. You know, like a red and carrot situation. Like, because if I get hit with this in my sprite deck, you know, it doesn't count the sprites that I'm summoning from my hand. So I can still summon like reds and carrots and all that kind of stuff. Fenrir, all this sort of thing. If we had more of those kind of cards in the game, I think we wouldn't complain about this card that much. Right? Like, if your opponent goes special Fenrir and then normal summon a level 2 monster, suddenly this card doesn't look that good, right? Because your opponent goes like normal summon a level 2, special blue from hand, you drop this card, and the opponent just goes like pass on, like, I don't know, Fenrir, Carrot, Smashers, and you haven't even drawn a single card off of this, potentially, right? So there are worlds where where it's possible to play under this card, right? Which, that previous example that I just made of Fenrir, normal summon level 2, special blue jet or something, that does not work under Maxx, right? You can't do anything under Maxx, but you can do those things under this card. And that is why there's a difference between Maxx and this card, right? I just want to make sure that you guys understand that there is a big difference between this card and Maxx, right? Which is, it's a weird benchmark to compare the card specifically to Maxx, because Maxx is so overly powerful. But still, I think it's worth pointing out, right? I think it's worth pointing out. Oh yeah. My general feeling towards this card, just to get this to a close, is more on the negative side. I would, if I had to put it into like numbers, I would say like I'm 60-40 that this is not a good idea. But I am not. I don't think this is like dooming the game at all. I think it's I think it's slightly too powerful, and I mean slightly too powerful. And I think it's going to depend on, are we going to be able to discover ways to play around this card, right? Are we going to discover ways to make a board in just 1 or 2 draws for this card that are fine? If the answer to that is yes, then I think the card is okay. If the answer to that is no, then I think the card's a problem. If you just, if it basically skips your turn, no matter what deck you're playing, then it's a problem. But yeah. But it is definitely not Maxx. Chaining shared right to this is insane because you can keep your cards and get mega extenders. For the rest of this turn, each time a card is added from the main deck or graveyard to your opponent's hand, except by drawing them, you immediately draw 1 card. So you're chaining shared right to this to just go -1 on top of already having to play into this card? Because like you're not going to draw a single card when you activate shared right under this? That's pretty good. I never thought about it like that. That's a pretty impressive use of a tech card in your deck. Just throwing it away like that, that's pretty nice. All right. This whole podcast and reacting to the new Mulcharmy card took a lot longer than I thought. And I am afraid I need to get going a little bit sooner than usual today. So I don't think it's worth jumping into Master Duel today. I'm sorry I promised you guys Master Duel games earlier, but the podcast was like 2.5 hours. I didn't anticipate it going that long. I know, my bad. But I have to be somewhere soon. And I look, the new cards come out in Master Duel tomorrow, so it's more exciting to play Master Duel tomorrow anyways. So it is my bad. But we don't have, I don't have the time today. I unfortunately don't have the time today. Where's the long stream? Yeah, the long stream was gonna happen yesterday. It was the only day of the week that I can actually make a long stream happen was yesterday, and then my internet died. I will make up for it though, because there's a Challenger Cup on Sunday. Okay, let me give you guys some stuff. Challenger Cup on Sunday. 24-hour ranked grind stream next week. I don't know what day yet, but it's going to happen. And we're also watching the NAWCQ together. Both days. Isn't that something, huh? Isn't that something? So I believe we're okay leaving like a little bit early today. All right? That's a deal? That's a deal, I feel like. Accepted. All right, good. You guys, I'm gonna need to think about. We're probably gonna talk about that card tomorrow again. I'm gonna need to sort my thoughts on that card because it is a massive thing. I'll send you guys over to Mr. Farfa, who has just started streaming. If you guys want to keep yapping about how Maxx C3 is going to kill the game, I appreciate you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the podcast.